Hello. How are you? Welcome back to the Trust Your Worth podcast, the podcast that helps you tap in to the power of knowing your worth. My name is Brittany, and thank you so much for being here today. How are you? I hope you're doing so well and that you were super kind to yourself this past week, because that was what the episode was about, was being so kind to yourself, giving yourself that grace and generosity you would give everyone you love, and that little extra self-love to yourself. So I hope the worth work went well and that you had an amazing time doing it. This week we're talking about pleasing our own ego versus being our authentic and true selves. And it is hard to be authentic at all times because of many things. If you're a people pleaser, it's hard to be your true self. If you're afraid of what others think of you, if that insecurity is still there, this episode is for you. If you're led a little bit by self-loathing, then this episode may also be for you, because these are things that feed our own ego. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Of course, it always starts with a reel because I love them and they're so helpful. But I was inspired to really ponder about my ego and also the essence of who I am. So on this reel, this woman was asking the question, if you were to describe yourself to me without saying the things like, what do you do for work? What is your nationality? Where did you grow up? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? If you were to introduce yourself without answering any of those questions, what else is there about you? What would you say? And this got me thinking, oh my gosh, yes, I love this question because it gets to the heart, the essence of who you are as a being, as a soul, as a person. That's so exciting to me, that when you understand yourself better and know who you are and how to describe yourself and what's important to you, then it is easier to trust yourself, especially. So if I were to describe myself without using my occupation and what I do and all those things, I would start with how I dearly love to laugh, that I enjoy humor and entertainment. I am joyful. I'm kind. I am loyal. I have integrity. And I believe in fairness wholeheartedly. And I'm creative. And I genuinely enjoy helping others. And I love to see when others get their dream. And if I were to ever actually have a dream realized, it would to be to help others reach their dreams. And that is like my real goal in life. So yeah, that's just an example. When you do this exercise and try and find the essence of who you are, I hope that you include your values. So like loyalty or fairness or integrity or generosity or adaptability, those kind of descriptors, and find out, what really is the essence of you, what makes you you. Because if we were to take away you being able to physically do things, what would be left? You would still be here and you would still be important, and your personality and the ways you can contribute uniquely to you might change because you can't physically do things, but your ideas and your creativeness and all of who you are is still going to be there. And to be fair, life is hard. We know this, and sometimes things happen to us that can change our values and change us. But that's what life is. We're continually learning and we're growing, and yes, appreciating that we are enough and that our worth doesn't change. But the I think the fun and the joy in life comes in part from overcoming challenges. And to find out who you are, we kind of need to be tested in many different ways. Like I just read a quote, like if you want to be happy, do something incredibly hard and just finish it. And I find that to be true. As I've said, I did try 75 hard. And guys, guess what? I'm starting 75 hard literally in 2 days. And I'm so excited to do it because last time I got injured, so I couldn't finish. And I've been waiting for the summer because you do have to walk outside. So I will be recording that journey. But basically, I'm doing it as an exercise to build self-trust, because I have to keep 6 promises to myself every day. And if I miss even one of those promises, like even if I miss taking a picture every day, because you have to do that, I have to restart. I have to redo the 75 days. So imagine getting to day 73 even and then missing one thing. You got to start over. So I'm just planning on not missing. So I have a chart and everything, and that journey, when it's finished, actually I haven't decided. I might do it like a week thing. I'll keep you posted, but but I am recording that journey, and I'm excited to share the things I learn as I do this huge exercise, this huge challenge in trusting myself a bit better. Anyway, so back to the ego versus your authentic self. Our egos represent a self-image based on external validation, whereas our true self is the core essence of your being. So that would be unburdened by your external judgments, that you're really doing things because you actually want to, and you're being authentic to yourself. Whereas the ego, you're doing things out of fear of rejection or the hope to be accepted. So there's this amazing video that I'm also going to link by Julia Christina, and she talks about the difference between the ego and your true self, and she brings up the 4 P's of the ego and the 4 C's of true self. So let's talk about those today. I just thought this would be so helpful in finding your essence and recognizing and being able to trust yourself a bit better, because y'all, just like I said last week, this is my most listened to episode, is how to trust yourself. So I'm feeling like y'all are still struggling with how to trust yourselves. And aren't we all? I mean, like, I do all the time. And after listening to this video, I definitely felt the reality of how much I do things out of ego instead of being authentic to myself. So this was a great reminder in trying to be more authentic, more true to me. Because as a recovering people pleaser, I fall into the ego a lot, which I'm going to talk about a bit. So let's get into the 4 P's of ego. So the first one is prove. Am I trying to prove something? So it's coming from the ego when you're trying to prove that you're good enough, or you're trying to prove that you're competent enough. You're just trying to prove you're worthy. And that, if that is your motivation for doing that, then we are in the ego side. So if you ever feel like you're trying to prove something to anyone, then let's take a second and rethink that motivation, and either don't do it or try to stop doing it. And hopefully we can start to recognize when the ego is kicking in. Okay, the second P is you are trying to protect something. Am I trying to protect something? Am I trying to protect myself? Like I'm hiding out of fear of being discovered, or the fear of vulnerability that, like, if I do this, everybody's going to know who I actually am. It also goes into not trying things. You're not taking risks because you are afraid that they will not work out the way that you want. So you were trying to protect yourself from the things not working out. So you just don't do it. So you don't try. So you're kind of stuck in that fear. And I think I've recognized that most of these P's in some way relate to a type of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, of being hurt, of being not good enough. So every time we're feeling things in the ego, it has to do with fear. So if you recognize you're doing something out of fear, then you're probably on the ego side. Just an observation I made about these 4 Ps. So anyways, what am I? So protecting. So we do when you're trying to protect yourself, if you feel that, then we are in the ego side. Okay, P number 3, what can I perfect? What do I need to make this perfect? And when we're trying to be perfect, we're trying to protect ourselves from the reality of being an imperfect being. We're afraid to fail, really, when we are trying to be perfect. And we also are stuck in the thought pattern of we think to be worthy or good enough, we have to be perfect. So if you think that you have to be perfect to be worthy, false. You are always worthy. You are good enough. So try and remember that. And if you feel like you're stuck in the cycle of perfection, well, let's start with recognizing if you are in this thought pattern of, am I trying to be perfect? Am I trying to protect myself from others seeing me being imperfect? Others seeing me fail? And if so, then we're stuck in the ego side. You don't have to be perfect. No one ever on the planet Earth was perfect. And things don't have to be perfect. The timing doesn't have to be perfect. Life doesn't have to be perfect for you to be happy and for you to enjoy your life. Things really don't have to be perfect. I don't think I've ever had a perfect day. I've come close, but in every day I can think of things that went wrong. So perfection is the illusion, and try and remember that. So if you feel like you're trying to perfect things, then let's try and move away from those fears and recognize when we're thinking that way. Okay, and the 4th P of ego is, who can I please? Oh, guys, when I heard this one, I was like, that's me. So when you please others, you're abandoning yourself in order to control what people think of you, so that you can feel good enough. Or should I put it in? I'm going to put it in words of me. When I abandon myself in order to control what people think of me, I'm doing it because I don't think I'm good enough. Ugh. Got me. Rip. Like, I'm a giver. And I want to say that my motivations are pure. And most times they are. But there are definitely times they're not. I'm doing it out of fear that people will not accept me. I'm doing it out of fear of, like, driving people away or being abandoned. Most times it's my abandonment wound as to why people please. But I want to make that distinction that it's different when you have no expectations and you're giving, then that is truly authentic. When you want to give because you just like giving and it makes you happy, not because you're trying to control what others think of you, that is the deciding difference when you are in a giving mode, because it's an amazing thing, an incredible thing to be a giving person. I wish we had more giving people on this planet Earth. Imagine what this Earth would be like if we had giving, kind people who just love to give because they're awesome. And I know some of those people, and I'm so grateful for those people in our lives. And hopefully, well, I feel like you can feel when your motivations are pure, but when you know they're not, like, just take a step back and check in on your tokens, especially people pleasers. Like, I know sometimes we're acting out of fear, so let's try not to. Let's say, do I want to do this because I want to do it and I expect nothing in return? Or am I doing this because I'm expecting them to think I'm a good person? I'm expecting them to believe that they need me. And I was just being so honest because I have thought these things and my motivations have not always been pure, and it has hurt me in the end. I've lost friends because it was too much for me to maintain that level of overgiving, of people pleasing. And I was hurt and they were hurt, and I regret that. So when we talk about the P of ego being who can I please, then there are ways to break out of this. But again, really, I'm just saying these so that we can start to recognize when we are in these patterns of thinking, because there are so many ways we can sort of correct these patterns, but I just want to focus on recognizing this week. And if any of these ego P's sound like you, then yeah, have a good journal sesh about it and ponder on, that's another P for you, ponder on why these fears are coming up for you and why we are living in the ego self. And it's not great to live there. Okay, so I'm just going to recap these 4 P's again. Am I trying to prove something? Number 1. Am I trying to protect something? What can I perfect? And who can I please? So those are the 4 P's of the ego. Okay, so let's go now to authenticity. The 4 C's of authenticity, the 4 C's of your true self, of finding your true essence. Okay, so the first C, what can I create? Creating's so fun. I did a full episode on creativity and how it can be so healing. And we really find the essence of joy and who we are when we start to create, because we don't create things we hate. We don't spend time and energy and hours creating things we hate on purpose. No, we're doing things we love. When I was making videos for YouTube, I had a scripted show, and there are definitely some episodes that were not great. I did not go into making an episode thinking like, this episode's not going to be great. I put my whole heart and soul to try and make it the best I could. And even though mistakes were made, I was happy with the effort. And even though maybe the reception wasn't as great, but I didn't set out to create something that wasn't not great. It just happened to be that way. But I'm so proud of the effort and the challenge that the creativity was. So know that when you are creating, it's because you want to, and it's because you're excited to. Because I just think of people who are even doing cross-stitching and the amount of hours it takes to do that, or to sew, or people who make these beautiful pieces of art that took hours, and they're just in hours and hours of creativity. When I write music, sometimes I hate it, but in the end I enjoy it, because when I finish a song, it's like so incredible. Like it's such an exciting feeling, and holy crap, I did that. Like I freaking wrote a song, and I was what? And that's not something that everybody can do. And like each of you has something so uniquely you that you create, and that's what we need in the world. We need your creativity. So creativity creates authenticity. So that is C number 1. Okay, number 2. What can I contribute? Are you contributing kindness and love to this world? I hope so. I hope you know you do just by simply being in it. I hope you know that just by simply being you, you do contribute to this beautiful world, that you brighten it by simply being here. So please remember that. And it's exciting when you think of contributing. That means you're contributing to something other than yourself, something bigger than yourself, and you really get to find yourself in helping others, in service, in contributing to making this world a better place. Even people who may not have such a bigger circle. Like, I think of someone who's trying to cure cancer. They are literally trying to save millions of people. And the amount of time that's going to take and energy and the team that they have and the amount of hours they have to spend alone trying to contribute something so beautiful to the world, like, amazing. So I know we're not all out here curing cancer, but if you're making people laugh, if you're making people smile, you are contributing. If you are brightening any other person's day, you have contributed to this world. And it is exciting because most people just do it naturally. And that's what it's all about, is contributing to better this world, but also in finding your truest self, that you are just, it's bringing you joy to contribute. So that's number 2. Okay, number 3 kind of goes into contribution. How can I connect? We are social creatures. We need connections. When we want to thrive, we have to have a community. And it doesn't have to be big. The science shows it should be about 5 people. It should be 2 to 5. Because we can't just put all our eggs on one person. We can't put all the responsibility of us feeling loved on one person. Remember, that's not fair. But we can create a community, and whether that's big or small, or no matter what size it is, that connection is important. And think about the many people who love you and you love. And it's not to prove you are right, especially in times of tension, that when we communicate well, we can motivate to connect rather than to divide. Like, especially when you think of your loved ones and you're like in a fight and you want that connection, but you know it's something's happened to it, so you're trying to fix the connection, and hopefully you're dealing with the problem and not like fighting the person. I just think of that quote, never let a problem be more important than a person being loved. So connect, communicate, know that you have people in your corner. And when you're feeling lonely or sad, or you just need a pick me up and you've forgotten who you are, let your community and your connections remind you how amazing you are. And if you forget, if you just need that reassurance, I'm sure, ask somebody you love, just like, hey, I'm not feeling like myself. Can you remind me a bit of who I am? Because I am just not feeling it today. And watch what they say. They're going to say, oh my gosh, you bring me so much joy. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for uplifting me. And I'm grateful for this opportunity I have to remind you how amazing you are. It's going to be so awesome. So try to connect if you want to find more of your authentic self. The 4th C is, what can I cultivate? What can I build and grow? What can I experience in life? So what in this life can you cultivate into something that is just awesome? So I think of people who create businesses and they've cultivated it. They've worked their booties off to make it grow. Think of Min, who I've interviewed, who, incredible, she just moved locations because she outgrew her first one. Like, that's so exciting. Even within your families, you can cultivate relationships or safe spaces. I think that's an amazing thing to cultivate, is true friendship and true spaces of love and safety. Like, become a cultivator of that. So tonight, when you think about what can I cultivate, so that could be a skill you're learning, like learning to play guitar, or learning to pay your bills, or learning like basic life skills, learning to change a tire. Maybe you're cultivating a new community, like you want to start a comedy group, or you want to start a movie night or a book club. Like, what are the things that you can cultivate? And you're going to find something that you love, because again, we're not creating things we hate. We're creating things we love, because as we find out more about ourselves, our true selves, these come in automatically. We want to share. We want to share our happiness with others and find people who are like-minded, and it's exciting to create a community and cultivate. So let me just recap the 4 C's here again. What can I create? What can I contribute? How can I connect? And what can I cultivate? And in the end, Julia talks about how when to overcome the ego, we just have to trust ourselves a little more. You have to trust yourself. You have to know that you're going to show up for yourself, to say no to the things you actually don't want to do, and say yes to more of what you actually want, and to do things because you want to. That's going to help your authenticity, is by saying true to yourself and not doing things out of the ego. So for that outward validation. So anytime you're feeling that fear, or you're thinking like, oh, do I really want to do this? And don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Your voice matters. Your voice is important. So speak up. If you don't want to do things, it's okay to say no. It's totally okay to do that. And think about your motivations for doing things. And try not to do it because you're trying to impress somebody. Try not to do things because you want them to like you. Try not to do things because you're trying to people please and just keep the peace. Nope. Try not to do things because you want that validation, and also because of fear of rejection or fear that people will not accept you. Your people who love you and who should be in your life will like you for exactly who you are. You are enough exactly how you are. Right now, you're so loved. I need everyone to know this. So, your worth work this week, we're going to do that first exercise that started this whole thought process. And that is to introduce yourself without using what you do for a job, what you do for fun, where you grew up, what your ethnicity is. You are going to introduce yourself using your values and what you truly think about yourself. So your attributes, not physical ones, your essence ones, your essence attributes. So you're going to use words like fairness, gratitude, pleasure, generosity, flexibility, kindness, acceptance, joy, compassion, safety, respect, traveling, belonging, beauty, nature, friendships, connection. All of these could be descriptors of your values and your essence of who you are. So I hope you enjoy getting to know yourself a little better. I hope it helps you to find ways to connect, ways to create, to cultivate, and to contribute. And I hope that you can overcome the ego and just enjoy creation and your authenticity, being your most authentic self. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you want to chat with me or just tell me the essence of who you are, you can find me on YouTube at Trust Your Worth, on Instagram at Trust Your Worth Podcast, or on my website at www.trustyourworth.com. If no one has told you today, you are beautiful. And don't forget to trust your worth. Okay, thanks so much. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.